So recently I received a message asking me to do a video on blue fragrances from niche houses. That's what I've done for you today. And if you don't know what blue fragrances are, for example, the designers have a ton of blue fragrances. Let's say Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, and anything that kind of category or style of fragrances would be considered blue. So in today's video, I've got a top 15 blue fragrances. Most of these are unisex, can be worn by men or women. Some are for men, male targeted. But either way, 15 of them ranked today. Find out about niche blue fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, we're talking about blue fragrances today from the niche houses. Probably some of these you know, some of them you probably don't know. I personally consider all of these blue fragrances, and they go in different directions. Some can be a bit salty, some can be very aromatic, some are musky, some are a bit floral, but definitely considered blue fragrances. I've ranked this in my favorites, and we're going to start off with number 15, going to the house of ROJA. It's ELYSIUM Parfum Cologne, this one right here. ROJA Parfums, ELYSIUM Parfum Cologne. Over the weekend, I was at ZGO Perfumery for Marc-Antoine Barrois, and I got to smell the latest version of this, which I found to be a little better. I don't have it here today, but I am going to highlight the original, and this is, I believe, ROJA Parfums' answer to the blue fragrance movement. There's a big movement out there with blue fragrances. I don't know, maybe it's kind of dying down now. But this is Vetiver with grapefruit, juniper berries, black currant, lemon, bergamot, lime, ambergris, vanilla, apple, cedar. So it's very aromatic, it's very spicy, it's very fresh, and also musky and woody. So that is ROJA's ELYSIUM. Do you agree with me that the new intense version of this does smell a bit better? What are your thoughts? It did seem a bit creamier and seemed a bit more robust than that one. That one seems a bit airy. But moving on to the house of MONTALE, we've got Fougere Marine here. Fougere Marine. Okay, so my bottle says Fougere Marine. A lot of online says Fougere Marines. I think it's the same exact thing. But this is a aquatic marine fougere fragrance, so barbershop fragrance. If you like the idea of barbershop with the whole marine effect in it, this might be your cup of tea. Barbershop fragrances or fougères typically feature lavender and geranium for their aromatic spiciness, and this also has seawater with oakmoss, musk, and patchouli. It's definitely a MONTALE fragrance, so it's definitely pretty potent and intense, but I wouldn't call this one to be one of the uber beast mode MONTALE fragrances, but still it has great longevity. So if you like the idea of barbershop fougere with marine touches, definitely try Fougere Marine. This is from the house of MONTALE. That is at number 14. Another salty fragrance, or I should say the first salty fragrance we've got here. Going to the house of BDK, it's Celle d'Argent. This one right here. Celle d'Argent is a very salty fragrance. It utilizes salt as a note, but it's contrasted with lots and lots of citruses and also some musky notes and floral touches as well. So it's salt with orange blossom, Ambroxan, Cashmeran, white musk, Timbersilk, grapefruit, and bergamot. So it's either lots of citruses, some floral touches, and the salt for sure. It's a potent fragrance with the saltiness. In the end, it's called Celle d'Argent. I believe it translates to silver salt. So it's got all these notes, and with the overdose of muskiness with the Timbersilk, the Ambroxan, and the Cashmeran. So if you like this idea of a marine, musky, salty fragrance, definitely try Celle d'Argent. This is from the house of BDK. That's at number 13. Going to the house of Parfums Marly, we've got two fragrances. Two niche blue fragrances from Parfums Marly. I don't know why they have two fragrances that are kind of in that blue category of fragrances, but they do smell different. In the end, they have similar notes as well. So it's PDM's or Parfums Marly's PERCIVAL here. To me, this one's rather close to something being similar to Sauvage from the house of Dior. It's lavender with mandarin orange, bergamot, geranium, violet leaves, violets, spices, and musk. So this is very, very aromatic and spicy, and it does have that kind of an Ambroxan-y vibe that you can pick up in Sauvage from Dior. So this one does remind me of that. In the end, it's not the same, but it has similarities, and if you like that style, you want something in the niche world, definitely Percival from Parfums de Marly is going to do it for you. So this is Percival from Parfums de Marly. That is at number 12. Then to a new one from the house of MIZENSIR. This is ANTICONFORMISTE. This one right here. When I was down in LA for Art and Olfaction Awards, I got to smell this down there as they usually put out the newest fragrances in like a section of new releases. And I quite liked it. You know, it's not one of my all-time favorites from this house, but definitely in the style of a blue fragrance. In fact, I believe MIZENSIR has several that's in this style. I went with this one because it's rather new. So this is Tonka Beans Absolute, Patchouli Fraction, Sichuan Pepper, Gardenia Accord, Cologne, Mint Essence, Violet Leaves. So it's very aromatic, spicy, and also ozonic at the same time. And of course, it's got the Tonka beans. These are all kind of notes that you would find typically in the blue fragrances or aromatic fragrances or even fougères, because you've got Tonka beans and kind of lavendery type notes up top to create like a fougere type of a fragrance. But this one also has that cologne. Cologne is a very scary note for me. Well, I'm not scared of it. It's just sometimes when there's an overdose of cologne, it could end up smelling like fish. Here, it's rather pleasant, not too overly strong, and it works here perfectly. And definitely, this is kind of like a crowd pleaser type of a release. In fact, all of these fragrances, when you wear them, they're going to be really, reacted positively because they're definitely crowd-pleasing fragrances. But either way, we've got MIZENSIR ANTICONFORMISTE that is at number 11. Moving on to the house of TIZIANA TERENZI, we've got FOCONERO, this one right here. So FOCONERO is a salty aromatic fragrance with citruses and spices. We've got salt here, we've got lime, there's ozonic notes, so most likely something like violet leaves, juniper berry, lavender, lemons. It's definitely kind of a very blue fragrance in the style of TIZIANA TERENZI's fragrances and an overdose of salt because it's very, very salty and citrusy and also ozonic with the violet leaves. But definitely there's a sharp metallic vibe about it. Whenever I see juniper berries or juniper in fragrances, I get this kind of a quality, especially when they blend it with, aromatic notes like lavender and then they add citruses like lemons. It can become a bit sharp, screechy, metallic, but this one's definitely great. It's perfect in the heat. Also very classy to wear, I think, and definitely another crowd pleaser. So this is FOCONERO from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI, that is at number 10. And then going to the house of Parfums de Marly, once again, we've got SEDLEY. SEDLEY is this one right here. So I prefer SEDLEY a little more than Percival. SEDLEY has something soft about it that I like, wears better on my skin, but because of that, it creates a very cozy vibe. And it's got notes like spearmint, watery notes, geranium, lavender, solar notes, bergamot. So in the end, it's very blue here for me. It's in a blue bottle, obviously. Can you see that right there? And then it has mostly lots of aromatic touches with the geranium and lavender, including the spearmint. And I think what creates this kind of watery softness here, there's watery notes. I believe it also features Ambroxan to extend the life of the fragrance. In the end, we're dealing with very fresh notes, so we want to make sure to extend the life of this fragrance by adding this kind of a musky, ambery, woody, slightly aquatic note of Ambroxan. So it's SEDLEY from the house of Parfums de Marly. That would be at number 9. And then going to the house of Frederic Malle. Yes, there is one from Frederic Malle. It's Outrageous. This one right here. Outrageous to me is a blue fragrance in that it goes into a fruity direction, also sparkling, effervescent, kind of an aldehydic direction as well. This is a niche house. It's a unisex offering. A lot of the fragrances are unisex here. Some are male targeted, but of course, if you like what you smell, where there's no rules. Here though, we've got a bit of a cocktail vibe. It's aldehydes with musk, apples, neroli, grapefruit, ambroxan, lime, and orange. It's a great fragrance. It's perfect in the heat. Very classy, a bit fruity, definitely musky, and also kind of a cocktail vibe like you're in Brazil drinking caipirinhas on the coast or something. So it's Outrageous from the house of Frederic Malle. That is at number 8. And then moving on to the house of Molton Brown, we have Coastal Cypress. and sea fennel here. And I'm going with the EDP version, not the EDT. The EDP version seems a bit thicker and denser, so greater longevity in comparison to the EDT. And this to me, I feel like is the answer to Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Kind of similar, coastal cypress and sea fennel. I think they're kind of inspired similarly, but they go in different directions. This one, it's cypress, sea notes, cardamom, fig leaf, cedar, violet leaves, jasmine, bergamot, and musk. It's definitely very, very great. Smells wonderful. Imagine smelling the cypress trees along the coast where you have the sea breeze and the marine smell that hits your face at the same time the cypress tree smell is hitting your face. So this is Coastal Cypress Sea Fennel. This is the EDP version. I recommend both. Try it if you like one or the other, or both perhaps. It's fairly popular, I think, and I feel like it's probably one of the more popular ones from Molton Brown. And then moving on to the house of N. Mikolov. This is Osato, this one right here. To me, this is a marine take on something like Mirto de Panarea from the house of Acqua di Parma. It's kind of in that style, and it also uses the myrtle note here, and lots of it. And this is a note that's really hardly used in fragrances, but it's quite nice smelling. I love the smell of it. It's kind of a floral aromatic smell, a bit mintiness, a bit kind of herbal, but also floral at the same time. So it's a very, very interesting smell here. But it's lots of myrtle with sea notes, citruses, marigold, musk, grapefruit, sandalwood, woods, and amber. Again, it's very blue. It's a great smell. It's unique in that it has unique notes and not smelling like others. And then definitely something you can wear in the summertime very liberally. It has the marine vibe and also this kind of aromatic floral note of myrtle in here. So this is Osato from the house of M. Mikolov. Check that out if you don't know it. I highly recommend that one. That's one of my favorites from that house. And this next one is one of those fragrances that I didn't like that much at first, and now it's kind of really grown on me. Sort of like Baccarat Rouge 540. I hated it at first. Now I absolutely love that fragrance. Same with this one from Nishane. It's Ege, this one right here. I don't know what it is about this one. When I first started smelling it, it smelled extremely marine to me, but I came back to it over and over again. Now I really like it, and I love the way it smells because it's got this kind of fresh ozonic vibe about it, like cucumbers, imagine, or like a non-fragrant apple, because when you cut into these fruits or vegetables, you got that kind of fresh crispness inside, the juiciness, the pulpiness that is very, very present in Ege. So it's violet leaves with basil, mint, yuzu, olibanum, anise, and licorice. A wonderful fragrance. I really, really enjoy this blue fragrance from the house of Nishane. And again, as I was saying, not a fragrance I really enjoyed at first, but now I really, really love it. And I think it smells fantastic in the summertime when it's really, really warm outside. So Ege, this is from the house of Nishane. Come on now, we're not focusing. And then great fragrance to wear. It's a great ozonic fragrance and definitely highly recommended. I already mentioned this fragrance, but I'm going to actually feature it now for sure. This is Wood Sage and Sea Salt from the house of Jo Malone. Definitely a really beautiful but very light take on a blue fragrance unisex offering here. Most of these I think are unisex, definitely targeted unisex. I believe the only male ones were Elysium and then the two Parfums and Marlies. The rest of the fragrances are all very unisex. Again, there's no rules, but here with this one, it's such a pleasure to wear this one. It's got a very comforting, cozy vibe. There's a smoothness about it, and it's very, very musky with ambrette seeds. We've got sea salt, we've got sage, so we've got aromatic herbal qualities, saltiness like you're on the coast, and then you've got the ambrette seeds to create this muskiness. To me, this smells like the California coast. When I'm driving from San Francisco down to, let's say, Monterey, California, there's this like a freshness about it. There's the aromatic, herbs that grow on the coast, the smell of the sea. Fantastic fragrance. The only thing is it's kind of light, but you can liberally spray this stuff and smell fantastic. So this next fragrance, I am featuring it here. I am calling it a blue fragrance. The notes are totally off. I don't get it, but to me it wears like a blue fragrance, and it even has the name blue in the name. So it's Fragrance de Bois Oud Bleu Intense, this one right here. So this fragrance to me doesn't wear like the notes that are in here. It wears kind of aromatic, herbal, citrusy, and then eventually it becomes what the notes are. But for me, up top, there's a mintiness about it, there's a citrusiness about it, and a muskiness that I quite like. It is kind of on the light side, even though it has all these like really uber intense notes in the fragrance. But as I was saying, it dries down to that, but it takes a while to get there. Along the way, it's very, very fresh, and I love that about it. Oud Blue Intense, wear it liberally in the summertime. It smells fantastic. I spray it in my hair, and then I'm walking around, I can smell it here and there, and it smells super fantastic. Love it. It's cardamom, mandarin orange, nutmeg, popanax, myrrh, styrax, benzoin, oud, frankincense, cistus labdanum, myrrh. Myrrh essence and myrrh resinoid is what the differences are. Again, this is not very oudy, and it's also very aromatic, and there's definitely a minty, citrusy vibe about it, kind of like a mint citrus cocktail or something. There's also in the background something rosy, and I absolutely love this. This is such a great release. I love the name, but for some reason, for me, the notes don't match it. But either way, a great blue fragrance from the house of Fragrance du Bois. Oud Blue Intense. Check it out. I think you're going to like this one. The next one, we're going to the house of Xerjoff. It's Mephisto Gentle Uomo. This one right here from the Casa Morati line. A barbershop fragrance, but a kind of ozonic and aromatic barbershop fragrance with loads of citruses here. This is a great fragrance in that you can smell the twigs of the lavender. Like if you've ever played around with lavender, you've picked them, you've chopped them up or done something with them, put them in a vase, and you got that smell in your hands. It's kind of green and stemmy and also kind of very fragrant lavendery. For me, this is very naturalistic here with the lavender. So it's citruses with lavender. There's orris, sandalwood, cedar, grapefruit, violet, and amber. Absolutely love it. It's a great scent, and they also have barbershop-y shaving kind of products for the face. In fact, I have an oil of this one. I put it on sometimes, and it smells fantastic with the fragrance. So this is Casa Morati Mephisto Gentle Uomo from the house of Xerjoff. And then we're going to end the list with this fragrance from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Once again, another fragrance that I was not a big fan of, and I've become a really big fan of this one, and going to the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian once again. It's Gentle Fluidity Silver. You know what? This was so sharp and metallic when I first started smelling it. I was put off by it. I don't know what it is. But I started wearing it when it's really warm outside, and that sharpness, the metallic qualities of this really opens up in the heat and the humidity and makes for a wonderful cooling fragrance. It smells fantastic. And the reason I'm getting the sharpness here, the metallic qualities, it's because of the juniper berries. Whenever they have those notes in fragrances, it creates a very metallic, sharp vibe. So it's juniper berries with woods, musk, vanilla, coriander, nutmeg, amber woods. And the vanilla is there, but it's not a vanillic fragrance. It's only there to kind of soften it up a little bit because in the end, this is a very sharp fragrance and it needs that contrast. What a wonderful fragrance it is. Again, some fragrances I don't like at first, but it grows on me, and this is definitely one of them right here. This is Gentle Fluidity Silver. Perfect blue fragrance from Niche World. Anyway, those are my top 15 blue fragrances from niche brands. What are your thoughts on these fragrances, and do you enjoy the blue style of fragrances? Of course, you can buy the designers. There's plenty of them out there. But since I was sent a message asking me to do this, in fact, it's not the only message I've received. I've received a few emails as well. I thought I'd put together this video. But let me know what else you would add to this list. Let me know what your thoughts are on the fragrances I've featured here today. And also let me know what you think and how you wear these fragrances. Do you prefer the fragrances to be designers because they're blue, not anything special, or do you like the idea of niche fragrances? Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. I've got a bonus fragrance for you guys as usual, and we're going back to the house of MIZENSIR. I already featured ANTICONFORMISTE, this one right here. Now we've got Blue Gin, this one right here. So Blue Gin, of course, it's inspired by gin. You know, gin is very crisp, it's fresh, it's sharp, it's metallic, it tastes great with, you know, as a gin tonic and things like that. But here they're using the fragrance as an inspiration. It's a total blue fragrance for me. Sharp, metallic, very cool and ice cold with juniper berry notes, mandarin orange, Sichuan pepper, black pepper, cascalone for fresh aquatic touches, irone, cetalox for musky musky and ambery, woody touches along with tonka and cardamom. This is definitely real blue fragrance, really sharp and metallic, and once again, perfect to wear, very, very classy, very blue, and also perfectly ice cold for really warm, hot, humid days. So Blue Gin is the bonus fragrance. I left it as a bonus because I wanted to feature just one fragrance from one house in the video, and that one ended up wanting to be featured as well because I really like it myself. It kind of does remind me a bit of Gentle Fluidity Silver, but they're a little different. So if you like the idea of sharp, cold fragrances, ice cold fragrances for wearing during the hot summer months, definitely try Blue Gin or even Gentle Fluidity Silver. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.